So, Sonny, the Ravens had their preseason opener. We're kind of just go around the table, break down everybody's preseason opener, some good, some bad here. We're just going to start out overall initial thoughts of what you saw from the pertinent parts of this preseason game. Understanding like that second half, just of the preseason game is just. I've been having to break down a lot of law cases today, Jared. I'm sorry. I'm deep in my legalese bag here. Here for to Ann. Tell me what you thought of the opener for the preseason for the Ravens. Were there any surprises of guys who played, and kind of what competitions are going on that people who aren't necessarily following the Ravens day to day need to be following?
So the Ravens have a competition for the guard position, both left and right. Fahalele's there. He was the right guard for last year. You all know my fandom of him. I thought he played terrible. The left guard Voorhees, I think he should be a lock. I think at this point should be Fahalele and Ben Cleveland. Ben Cleveland played maybe a little better, touch better, but it wasn't like so. So definitely, I'm concerned for the right guard position. For the Baltimore
What is this
Ravens.
obsession that the Baltimore has with the biggest, stiffest guys they can
Both
find,
of them are
putting
huge.
them at guard? Yeah, they're both like 6'9", like 300. It's like watching like Yokozuna tag up with Braun Strowman every time that they go out there.
It's crazy. These two, they're big, but they don't move well. Fahalele definitely doesn't. The thing with Fahalele is so huge that it just takes you a minute to go either around him or on top, however you're gonna get to set player.
Yeah, and it's strange that they have that much size there, and then they run a lot of like wide zone. It's like not a lot of gap. Like I don't get it, but it's their decision.
Malachi played good. A couple of good one-on-one reps with Darren Warren. That was good. Corners, DJ Tampa, guy that the Ravens drafted too. I like how he played. He played well. Amar Davis showed up, but he's in his 4th year, so if he doesn't show up this year, he about to be gone. LaShawn Wester, another rookie, he had the return. People saw that, and I like him too, especially as a returner. I think he's explosive. Like that punt return, that first layer that he squeezed in between the between the two guys, right? And I thought he was gonna go down. Nope. And then blocking led the way. He's definitely has some burst.
If he didn't make the Ravens roster, he made somebody's roster.
Oh, for sure. Nah, he's gonna be the return punt.
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah.
Every single team in the league, especially like all these teams that run the wide zone West Coast, has a need for a small shifty guy who can do something with the ball in his hands, and he can certainly get something done from that standpoint. Yeah. He was one of the tape guy favorites of the offseason, so it's nice to see him get his due.
Yeah, but that was basically it. I mean, nothing crazy. As we were discussing before we were in live, the quarterback play for the Ravens not yesterday.
We talked about Tyrod Taylor. He actually just had surgery apparently, so he's done for the preseason. It will be C.J. Beathard and Nate Peterman for the Jets backing up Justin Fields.
How does Nate Peterman still have a job in this league?
He must be he must be a great hang.
Oh my God.
What was the other name that you said? C.J. Beathard?
C.J. Beathard.
I don't even know who that dude is.
How? He used to play for the Jaguars.
Played for the 49ers as well.
Yeah, that was after he was washed. He was there. He was the Jaguars guy. Yeah, no, like there was like, C.J. Beathard might be something, and like he played at Iowa. What I think, right? Was he an Iowa guy?
Oh, let me look.
Was he on the Iowa team? This is a deep pool. If I make it, I'm shooting heat checks for the rest of the day. Wasn't he on the Iowa team that lost to North Dakota State?
What year was that?
I was in college. I was in college.
He is from Iowa, and it looks like he was there from 2012 to 2013 to 2016. So
he definitely lost to North Dakota State. Yeah, okay. Woo.
Good pull.
Man, look at you, Q. Look at you, man.
It's kind of cheating. I went to Youngstown State, so I know the stuff that happens in the Missouri Valley. But yeah, that is an atrocious quarterback room. Look, I'm just going to say this here. For as much shit the Browns get for just throwing shit at the wall and trying to see what's happening at quarterback, we didn't pay Justin Fields a ton of money. I know some people feel differently about Justin Fields. I don't. And then put C.J. Beathard
Yeah,
and
I mean,
Nate Peterman behind him.
we talked about
famous for 5 interception and a half, was it?
Yeah,
Like,
talked about
Justin
the
Fields-
Ravens and Cooper Rush. The Jets aren't doing Justin Fields any favors either.
Yeah, and it's like Justin Fields, maybe you believe in him, like, okay, he's a flyer. But there's a certain tier of quarterback where you're just like, hey, I don't care what the backup is. It's Jim Sorgi, right? That's when you have Peyton Manning, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not what you put behind a dude like Justin Fields, who won.
Well, to be fair, they have Tyrod Taylor. He just got hurt.
Yeah. And how old is Tyrod at this point, though?
He's got to be like 36.
Yeah, I'm about to say Tyrod was playing college football when I was in like middle school. Like, there's no way that dude is like young anymore, right?
That's like, Tyrod was in like NCAA 09. Like he's
36.
For a
He's 36.
He's 36. He was on the Ravens like when they first got
him.
Joe
Yeah,
Flacco.
they drafted him.
Yeah, we drafted him.
Like way back in the day. He was one of the original projects that they just threw behind him. It's I think that's a bad situation. We haven't even touched on whatever the Saints are just throwing out there for their quarterback.
You're going for Manning. I think they want to go to the Manning.
I'm just telling you right now, I don't think much of Kenny Pickett, but dude, I would want Kenny Pickett over every option they have.
Yeah, he would start for the Saints.
How did Tyler Shot look? I didn't watch anything.
He threw a pick six.
Oh, okay. So he threw
And
a
then
touchdown for the other team.
He threw a long touchdown to a guy who was in a different county than any Chargers defensive back. But
that's why it wasn't Tony Jefferson that threw that got the pick six.
What's it, Tony Jefferson?
If it was Tony Jefferson,
I gotta tell you, I was zoned out of that game. Let's talk about your boy because Shedeur played well.
Yes,
people are going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's preseason, and I'm going to take things with a grain of salt. But what you saw was fairly like, it was what you want to see from somebody in that position, right? And I stress this with people. That's good. What you want to see out of Shedeur is just he gets a challenge, he passes the challenge, right? That's just constantly doing that, upping the challenge level over time. And then eventually the opportunity is going to come, and hopefully he can live up to that opportunity because it's Cleveland. You guys watch enough Cleveland Browns football to know he's going to play at some point, right? For sure. We're not going to – one quarterback's not going to make it throughout the season. Spoiler warning, y'all. But Shedeur looked pretty good. It was encouraging, had some nice throws in there. I think the two throws that stand out are the first touchdown throw. I think that second touchdown throw was good process. And then I thought the backside dig that he had in the back of his own end zone was pretty good as well. So, there's some good stuff there. Hopefully this could bear fruit, but you never know. You don't want to get too excited about the preseason. You don't want to change your whole season plans because of the preseason. I thought what else was more encouraging is what we've heard from joint practice about our other rookies, right? Carson Schlesinger, Mason Graham. Looks like they might have did a thing there with both those guys. Especially this week, you're hearing a lot of Mason Graham just
joint practices with the Eagles.
Yeah, joint practice with the Eagles, tearing things up. That's awesome to hear, right? Like that's a good sign there.
They will end up being big winners of that trade with Jacksonville. That's my take from that.
Ooh, hey, I hope so. There's a lot of like. Here's the thing that I don't think people have caught on what the Jaguars are truly betting on, right? And I think you understand this. Is they're not really betting on Travis as much as they're betting on this finally unlocking whatever they feel like Trevor Lawrence is going to be, right? Like this is going to be the final piece that puts it all together for Trevor. And if that doesn't happen, even if he's good, right? But Trevor's never able to break through to that upper echelon of quarterback conversation, I do think that pick starts to look funny because it's like, hey, if he's like a solid corner and a good wide receiver and you traded like quarterback level stuff to get him, we don't really think about it, but like you ever look at what the Miami Dolphins gave up for Jalen Waddle?
What did they trade for Jalen Waddle?
I don't know.
They ended up giving the pick that ended up being Jalen Carter for the Eagles.
Oh, wow.
They gave up a future first, right? And I think that's the model that the Browns are trying to follow is like, hey, let's see what happens here with that extra pick. So, yeah, I mean, it was a bold move by them. And I think they made that bold move because they're at this fork in the road with Trevor Lawrence. And I think, whatever happens with Trevor, is really going to dictate how they feel about that Travis Hunter trade. Because Travis could be a really good player, but if you got questions at quarterback and you're never able to get over the hump, you're going to be like, we traded an extra first for this? Like, in a second, right? Like that's going to sound crazy. You could have got a good player on offense and defense with both those picks. So that's really the bet that they're making there, and like why it starts to make sense in my head why they did it, because it's more about the quarterback than it is just about Travis. But yeah, if Mason Graham's really, really good, and then let's say they get something out of one of these other picks, whether it be Quinshon Judkins or that next first round pick, and then obviously the diamond here for the Browns, right? The ender of it all is if they get a quarterback with that second Jacksonville pick, then obviously they win the trade, right? Like that's a win for the Browns at least. I don't know if it's a loss for Jacksonville, but there's a lot of different ways it could break out. But Mason Graham looking really good in joint practice, I think, is a huge positive sign. Both those guys have been with the ones all camp and haven't looked out of place, which is rare for rookies, right? Like usually you could tell rookies going up against a wall. Carson Sweats is just wearing the green dot right now.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, Jared, how about your Steelers? You have a couple holdouts, which I was
Well,
surprised.
hold-ins.
Hold-ins, sorry, yeah, my bad. I was surprised because
Fire your agent.
Hayward got paid, and I was like, wait, and then the kicker, I'm blanking his name. He's
Chris
also
Boswell.
Yeah,
Boswell held in?
Yeah.
Boswell's holding in. That one makes sense. Like, he's the third highest paid kicker in the division. Like, pay him his money. You got the cap space. Give him a little bit more money.
No, I was surprised he didn't get a deal done, because like kicker deals are pretty easy because they're not that expensive.
He'll get paid. They'll take care of him.
Super vital.
Yeah, incredibly vital. Yeah,
like you live on the margins in Pittsburgh. Like that guy, he's basically the over 500 streak in my opinion. Like
the Boss deal will get done sooner than later. 99% of times, I am 100% on the side of players. You get your money, however much of it is you can. Cam Hayward a year ago signed an extension, and everybody's like, okay, well, it was a team-friendly deal. Well, if he didn't like the terms of the contract, then he shouldn't have signed it. And for him to be like, well, I told him when I signed it that, once I have an all-pro year, I'm going to come back. Okay, well, instead of just saying that, maybe you get that in writing so you can get a little bit of incentives if you had an all-pro year, so we wouldn't be in this situation. And it's just very annoying from a fan perspective, because it feels like Cam Hayward kind of talks out of both sides of his mouth, where, during the Rodgers thing, is like, oh, either you want to be a Steeler or you don't. But every year it seems like Cam Hayward's bitching and moaning about money and, constantly like wanting more money and talking about being unhappy and being undervalued. Meanwhile, this team has given him multiple big money deals and he's made over $130 million in his career. Like, I would love to be undervalued by somebody if that's the case. So like I said, 99% of the time I am on the side of the players with this. For Cam, he just got paid last year. He's 36. Like, there's no need to continue to come back to the table every year with a 36-year-old defensive tackle. I don't care how good he was last year. Sign the contract. If you didn't like it, you shouldn't have signed it. And if you wanted more money, you should have got it in writing if you had an all-pro year to get some more incentives. So, but they've constantly taken care of Cam Hayward. They've given him multiple big deals. They let his brother hang out on the team. Like, they take care of him. And every year it just seems like he finds something new to complain about. But on the other side of his mouth, he's talking about, oh, well, if you want to be a Steeler, you'll be a Steeler. I don't got to sell anything. Like, figure it out, dude. Like, you play on the deal that you signed, and let's stop talking about this. Boswell's a completely different case because he hasn't, I can't remember when he signed his. It's been a while since he got his deal. And he, like I said, the third highest paid kicker in the division. Give him his money and, make sure that he's
only Loop makes less than him. The Ravens rookie kicker?
I would assume so. I don't know what Dustin Hopkins is making right now.
Dustin Hopkins makes more than him?
Yeah. By the way, I found the number. So Dustin Hopkins does make more money per year than Chris Boswell does. And Evan McPherson's at 4.6, Boswell's at 5. So they're roughly the same. So my apologies on that. I got that.
Oh, so Hopkins is the highest of the division?
Hopkins is the highest in the division, yes. Dustin Hopkins. He's making $5.3 million a year.
Okay, because kickers get paid nothing.
Yeah.
Relative
the highest
to
paid
other
kicker
players.
in terms of annual average value is Harrison Butker at 6.4.
Really?
Yeah.
So nobody's getting paid.
No.
It's essentially what you're
Not for
telling
Baker.
me.
Jake Elliott's number 2 at 6. Cameron Dickers third at 5.5.
What did Boz? What he wants 8? What they fucking
I mean,
haggling
I would
him for this
I would
about?
assume he probably just wants like 6.6, like just a
Yeah.
little bit more than Butker.
Give him 7. It's
Yeah.
nothing. It is nothing. Dude.
It's not worth the holding.
Literally.
Real
Anyway,
quick, Ace,
ahead.
because we didn't really get to hear it coming in.
Yeah,
we know
yeah.
that the Bengals have had training
yeah.
camp, preseason. You know, a lot of
You're
talk
talking
about
about
Shamar Stewart. I've been hearing my boy's been looking good. My boy's
Yeah.
been looking good, Ace. You know, tell me about it.
Yeah, Shamar Stewart has been looking really good. Athleticism, we already knew that was there. Between training camp and between the preseason game, he looked really good. I might be wrong about Shamar Stewart, which I'm happy to be wrong about Shamar Stewart. He flashed a lot in the game, looked better than Miles Murphy, who's in a situation where he's got to kind of prove something. But Shamar Stewart has been able to rush the passer, get to people. They played him at 3-tech. They played him out on the edge as well. They're moving him around. He's getting some work with the ones. And for him to be a guy that just, didn't play rookie minicamp, didn't really come into training camp until the end, he's been extremely impressive. I mean, honestly, I think someone had a take where it was like, man, this guy might be one of the best players on the team just from a practice standpoint right now. And it's just because of the physical ability that he has to kind of get to the quarterback. I think there was one point where I think Dan Hoare said he was able to get to Joe Burrow in 2 seconds. He's been exciting to watch. We'll see if that translates on Sundays and translates in real games, because obviously this is just preseason and training camp, and the Bengals don't have the best linemen. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think a positive thing from the game was Shamar Stewart, what he was able to do in the preseason. Obviously, the Bengals are playing their starters, so that was as expected. They're going against backups for Philadelphia in terms of the offense. So, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are in form, and this is something that they're doing that's different than last year, where they're playing the starters. Now, the bad side about that is that the defense was out there and struggled against a backup Philadelphia offense.
The gnarly honky Tanner McKee.
Tanner McKee was
Tanner
looking
McKee.
like Dan Marino out there, which was
252
horrible.
touchdowns.
Yeah, and this was now they were missing about 5 starters.
Did
on
he do all of that
defense, but
against the starters, or was like some of it against starters, some of it against backups?
Kind of
some of it was
starters.
against starters and backup.
Okay.
He played until like the 3rd, 4th quarter. So
Okay.
I think
Then
the
DTR
Bengals defense.
how
I
did
want to say
DTR
played
look?
for the 1st quarter. DTR was all right. I mean, he didn't. Tanner McKee was like the talk of the whole thing. But I mean, for a Bengals defense, with them learning a new system, with them having about 5 starters missing, it's not ideal. And you want to see how they bounce back, especially if they get to play Jaden Daniels this week. We want to see what they can do there. But a lot of bad things that I saw from that perspective, not really the defensive line, but really the secondary, right? Like when it comes to DJ Turner, you have no business getting torched by Johnny Wilson, who's one of the stiffest receivers in the NFL.
Oh, God.
Cam Taylor-Britt didn't play in the game. So there were guys that were missing, like Geno Stone wasn't playing. But you just can't be getting killed like that. Like the first play started off with Will Shipley busting like a 35-yard run. So there's questions on that defense, which we already knew that those were the questions. We'll see what adjustments that they make in this second game. And as the season goes, it's going to be a painful experience, but that's just unacceptable to let Tanner McKee look like Dan Marino out there. So that was something that I had an issue with. The backup quarterback play surprisingly was atrocious. Jake Browning did not look good whatsoever. He had like one of the worst preseason quarterback performances in NFL history in that game. Desmond Ridder actually looked better than him. So that's how bad
He threw a nice jump ball to somebody.
Desmond
Ritter back in
looked
Cincinnati?
Yeah. Back in the natty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
When
so-
it goes for that draft class, it went, dog. Like they're all in random. Is there any of those quarterbacks other than Brock Purdy that's not like in a random place right now?
Can't be. Matt Corral is like selling
Oh,
insurance. Sam Howell is in Minnesota. Who else is from that class? Pickett's obviously in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Ritter's in Cincinnati. Malik Willis is in Green Bay. Yeah, no,
Yeah, wow,
everybody
they're
but Purdy
all-
somewhere else.
Yeah.
But he's in a battle now. Like now it's an actual battle between Jake Browning and Desmond Ridder for quarterback too. But the big talk out of camp has been Joe Burrow. Everybody's saying like this is the best camp Burrow has ever had. It's confusing because the offense is red hot and the defense has won some days. And I think the last time the defense won, I don't think the Bengals scored in 11s. So it's hard to say, but a lot of that was Shamar Stewart. A lot of that has been the defensive line. So we'll see how things evolve. But I mean, right now, I think the biggest thing that everyone is excited about is Shamar Stewart. So I'll say that.